is up, y'all? We're back with another Terrifier 3 video. Before we get into it, definitely smash the like button because it definitely helps, and make sure you're subscribed to the channel. So today we're going to be breaking down some key scenes from Terrifier 3 and talking about how Terrifier 3 set up for the next movie, Terrifier 4. So of course, if you haven't seen Terrifier 3, you might want to come back and revisit this video because we're breaking a lot of things down. So to get into it, with the ending of Terrifier 3, we see that Jonathan actually is possibly killed. He's killed. Yes, we saw where Victoria and Art opens up this cage with rats and it has like a skull, and at first we thinking that it is Sienna's cousin Gabby. And even when it was Gabby, I was still hurt because Gabby's character, she grew on me. She really grew on me. She was like the annoying little sister, but her arc really kicked up towards the end, and I really started, feeling for her. I got attached to Gabby. So I think that, with Damien, he's doing a great job at not just, doing things with the kills, the gore, and the blood. He's also showing us that he can, create characters and give us these amazing characters that gets us, invested and attached to them. So just in case if something happens to them, it will hurt us. So that's why I love Gabby. But we thought that it was Gabby's head, but then we see that Arthur Clown puts these glasses on the skull, and you hear Jonathan's voice basically saying that Jonathan's dead. But I'm gonna be honest, I feel like this. We all know as horror fans, if we don't see the body or the kill or the the remains or anything, we don't have no proof. So therefore, he's not dead until we see the proof. But I will say this, since Victoria and Art the Clown actually lied at a point, saying that was Gabby, and then they kind of, played that trick on Sienna, it shows me that, okay, if they lie once, they'll lie again. And it seems like they were actually doing that to make Sienna more vulnerable, weak, and feel like she didn't have no one left, just so that she can let the demon in. That's why when Victoria was holding her by the neck, she was trying, and she was like, I see why, they selected you because you're strong. And she was just kind of pushing through and everything, and she kind of overcame that situation with Victoria trying to possess her and take her as a vessel and everything, as a demon. So yeah, she was trying to just break Sienna, and they were telling her stuff. You don't have no one, to send all this crazy shit to her. So that kind of makes me think that Jonathan is somewhere still out there. I don't think that skull is Jonathan, because if you think about it, why would you do that to a main character? Like an off-screen death? Jonathan is one of the main characters, and we were really attached to him from Terrifier 2. I think Damien is kind of testing the waters because at a point, people didn't like the character Jonathan, but I think now he's done grew on people from the final act of Terrifier 2 and just a lot of his depth he has now, and he's just testing the waters, probably just trying to create some emotional attachment. But for me, I don't think Jonathan is dead. I don't think they're just going to write him off like that. I just can't see that happening. But yeah, a lot of people hit me up like, bro, do you think... I don't think so, but when that did happen, it did make my heart heavy, because it's just like, damn. In this story, they wrote Jonathan's character so good, man. I really felt for his character. He was just so to himself and just trying to be in school and get away from it, and everything with his bunkie Cole, and just the freaking girl Mia just obsessing and just pressuring him with stuff. It just felt like a person that was going through a lot of things and just trying to get away from it. So I really enjoyed Jonathan's character. And speaking of that final act, I love the final act from beginning to end. Just the whole thing with Sienna going to get the sword, the little details showing us on her hands that she went and got it with her hands being dirty, her just planting that sword behind a tree and everything, and knowing that once I seen that, something was going to happen in the house for sure, just because it's going to be one of those safety things where she goes and grabs it. But I really loved how they put those little details in that. But like this whole final act with Victoria and just Arthur Clown and Sienna and everything with the aunt, I thought that was so insane, with Sienna and her aunt Jessica tied up and taped, mouth taped and everything. That scene with the rats was so insane. I see a lot of people talking about the shower scene, but what about the rats, man? What about the fucking rats? Like, the rats, he took a tube and burned the tube for the rats to go down the throat. You could see this, it's like going by the throat. Oh my God, it was disgusting. Like, and they were fat rats, bro. It was so nasty. It was wiggling the throat. Damien, how do you create these, man? How? And then it's just so bad. It was just so bad. But they did her man, for her just to be just a character in there, they gave her one of the worst kills, bro. Sienna, man, that whole thing with Arthur Clown, just Sienna in a chair and he's breaking her hands. I think that whole scene was crazy, because when you sit here and think about it, like, they let her open a present, but they made sure they broke her hand so it can be hard for her and painful. But them not knowing and clueless that this is the sword that heals Sienna, the sword that really just connects everything with this story. And it also, you know, just heals her hands, and she chops at Art's neck. That part was just so crazy to me. And like I said, I think that whole scene was very intense with the mallet. He just hitting her in the shoulders. She took a beating, bro. She really took a beating, man. And pushing forward, like I said, I love that little add-on when he's walking back and forth in the living room and he just popping her in the back of the head, like, you know, be quiet. Like, that right there, bro, I really need to know Damien, did you think of that? That was so cool and crazy. He kills the aunt and he kills the uncle and uses his head as a tree topper. It was just crazy, man, just seeing everything that happens in the final act. It was so brutal. At a point, I was really scared for Art the Clown also, especially when Sienna got up and running with the chainsaw against the sword. I'm like, Art, you are cooked, brother. And, you know, Victoria, I really did enjoy her. You know, she has this black and white on. Definitely something with the black and white costumes. The pale girl, Victoria, Art the Clown. I feel like when you sit here and think about it, it's something with the black and white, possibly going back to the carnival owners with that newspaper with the pale girl on it. I think it's some type of significance with the demons and everything they're attached with this black and white costume or the carnival owners. But pushing forward, I really did like, you know, Victoria's character in the final act and through the movie, to be honest. But it was things that kind of it's like she was in charge. Like, you know what I'm saying? It looks like Victoria was in charge, but I did like it. I liked her voice, how she kind of sounded like this Reagan-ish demon. And she just like taunting and just going at Sienna, saying all this crazy shit and saying, you know, this stuff to kind of make her feel so small. Just like Jonathan said in his letter that he gave Sienna. And I'm going to get into that letter also, but, you know, they basically said the demons need that vessel to be vulnerable and weak and things like that. So that's why they was tearing Sienna down, just trying to make her feel so small, like she didn't have nobody, trying to, you know, kill everyone around her so she could feel alone and just so broken, and they can use her, you know, because they need her. That's the one that they picked. She's the savior. So she's the one that has the power and everything, and they know that. But pushing forward, that whole scene was just crazy, man. Like, at a point, fucking Art the Clown body slammed Sienna on the floor. Like, he picks her up and it was just insane, bro. And like I said, I loved Art the Clown in this, man. He is elite. He is elite, bro. Yeah, he's mute like Michael Myers and Jason, but just the fun personality he brings to Art the Clown. He doesn't say a word. He doesn't make a sound. You see an expression on his face and it just tells you everything. You know what I'm saying? He's talking with his hands and everything. It was just so cool. My favorite scene, possibly, because I can't pick, is that bar scene with Daniel Roebuck. Like, I really love that whole scene. From the moment Art the Clown's looking through the window, he's like, and he's just so happy like a little kid. Even from him pushing the chick, he pushes her because he's excited to see Santa. I loved it, bro. He walks up to Daniel Roebuck, and they did a great job of making us love Daniel Roebuck's character and just being excited to see what happens, because we know what's about to happen with Art the Clown and Daniel Roebuck. He has on the Santa costume, but he's just, you know, like, yeah, man, Clowny, calling him Clowny, all types of shit. And he's giving him the time of day, bro. And Art the Clown's, you know, doing what he's doing to the point he ends up sitting on Santa's lap, and then eventually he pisses on him. Bro, that right there is insane. That alone, Art the Clown pissing on Santa's lap is crazy. And then before that, he said, hey, man, give me an ID, you want a drink? He pulls out the fucking demolition fucking member's wallet, the black guy, and he's like, Maurice, who the hell is Maurice Jackson? You're Maurice Jackson. Bro, I was crying tears when he threw the wallet on the, and it's the faces Art is making. Like, you can tell, I swear, the faces he makes is insane, bro. I was literally in tears. And just the whole scene, and they're just talking shit like, hey, look at this clown, da, da, da. And he goes in the bag, pulls out the Glock, and he's giving out headbangers. He's giving out headbangers, bro, with the Glock. And it was just crazy. And just hearing Daniel Roebuck scream for his life and just be terrified and just be very scared, and Art the Clown come up to him, he's like, man, I got a real name, I got kids. So that whole thing just hit harder when he pulls out the liquid nitrogen and makes this man a fucking a real life snowman. That scene was just crazy. And he's hacking at the shins and everything. It was just crazy. I love that scene. Just Art the Clown alone is just carrying just this whole franchise, bro. He's a fucking comedian. He's like Freddy Krueger, you know, like Chucky and Leprechaun, but he just has a different style to him, you know what I'm saying? They talk, he doesn't. So he doesn't have to talk to be funny and also be serious. And I liked how at moments he's doing like this, he's happy, and then he's like, it's so creepy that a 0 from 100. That right there is so creepy. But I love the Daniel Roebuck scene. And to get into a little bit of more of the lore. So we see this flashback with Sienna's father, played by Jason Patrick. They're talking and everything, and we know about Sienna's father, you know, and everything with the drawings. We learned that in Terrifier 2, but Terrifier 3 kind of makes it seems that he drew things that he was facing, you know, things that he was expressing himself through drawings. Like, okay, he's going up against this demon that, you know, replicates Art the Clown and everything. And I think that that's possibly what happened. He was drawing it and he manifested it to life. He brought it to life. So now he feels responsible. I think, you know, that's why we see that scene with the flashback with Sienna, and that's why he made this angel warrior to take out this demon. And, you know, he brings up this character Blaster Man and things like that. And now that I think about it, the reason they probably wear black and white is because now this might be pushing it, but when he's drawing the comics, it comes out black and white. So they're wearing comic book colors. That makes sense. You see what I'm saying? Like, think about it. That's fucking crazy, bro. I think, yeah, that's probably what it is. Because think about it. Every, you know, one that's working with Art, the Pale Girl, Victoria, and Art the Clown himself, they wear black and white. It's because I think they're literally from the paper. He brought them to life because he was facing them. I think that's what it was. He was facing them. They were probably getting his brain and everything, and he actually created something. And when they're off the paper and now they're real characters, they're black and white like comic books are. And pushing forward, I think that's why he feels responsible. That's why he's giving her this sword, because we seen that he knows what's going on. He saw the future when they were holding the paper and he just like shaking. He's seen like, hey, my daughter's about to go through a lot. Let me prepare her, you know, and she's an angel warrior. So that's what was going on with that flashback scene. Us finding out that basically he's the one that brought these characters to life to Sienna and Jonathan because he was dealing with them. So I think we're going to find out more about that in Terrifier 4 and these demons and everything and how they're connected to Art the Clown and Victoria. And we know that with this scene with Sienna and Jonathan, when she pulls him in like the chapel in school, they're talking about it. And Jonathan previously obviously was sending her letters and, you know, talking to her about the demons. He was studying it, trying to find out how to defeat it. And we find out, like, I mean, I already knew that they need this vessel to kind of transfer over to get into the real world, being previously Art the Clown's victims. That's why the Pale Girl was Art the Clown's first victim. You read the newspaper, that's why we see her first, you know, the entity of her first, and then we see Victoria, and now we don't know if Jonathan's dead. Pretty sure he will be an entity, or Gabby would, you know, like another Pale Girl. I'm pretty sure they're going to be wearing black and white because we just broke that down, but it makes sense, and they need, you know, those vessels from when someone passes away after, you know, Art the Clown takes care of them. And that's what's going on. And I feel like when you sit here and think about it, everything is showing. You just got to really lock in, because I see a lot of people confused. Okay, so Art the Clown is getting power and fuel from the demons that he's around. Like Victoria, she's like the one with the power for real. Like same with the Pale Girl. They're the ones that's hosting the power. And every time they're around Art the Clown, peep how strong he is. And then once Victoria, she got, you know, killed at the end, and Sienna shoves the sword in Art, the power was being removed. You could see it in his eyes. The portal of hell is opening, like, come back home, Art. You know what I'm saying? The demons are calling Art the Clown because that's where he's from. He's from hell. You know, he's a demon. So it all made sense when you just sit here and think about it. He's like, come back home, Art. The portal of hell opens in the living room. Art the Clown is losing his powers. Victoria's no longer hosting his power. And that's why, you know, she's trying to get Sienna. They need Sienna because she's the savior. She was selected. You know, she was strong. And, you know, they're saying that the angels selected Sienna because they felt that they knew she was the right one. And that's how it all is for real. It's all about, you know, these demons and, you know, them being attached to hell. If you notice, every time for real, Art the Clown, you know, he's around the pale girl. He's very strong. He's not human. And we also found out crazily, I know I'm not tripping with this, but Art the Clown was like a regular human before. Art the Clown was a regular human. He was a serial killer that was just super evil, and he was so evil that attracted the demons. They wanted to be around that, and they kind of took over Art the Clown. So Art the Clown is almost like a Freddy Krueger type of, you know, lore, and it makes sense because Damien said he's a huge Freddy Krueger fan. So it's like that, like, you know, Art the Clown, he's similar to that, but the demons are the ones that's, you know, assisting the power, the fuel, like Victoria and the pale girl. I had went back and looked at this letter that Jonathan actually wrote Sienna. He wrote Sienna when he was in college, being obsessed again with the demons and trying to take out Art the Clown. And he says this: "We have to destroy the little girl before it's too late. Destroy her because she's inhuman, a demon. Sometimes demons try to break into our world, only they can't do it alone. They have to choose a vessel, someone recently deceased who functions as a bridge between both worlds, but not just alone. Someone sinister, depraved, the worst kind of evil, like a serial killer. If a demon enters this world in the flesh, a counterpart must be appointed to stop it from becoming a powerful entity. It's you, Sienna, as long as you're alive and vulnerable." So that makes sense. That's why they're going after Sienna. Think about it. Sienna's losing her mom, her aunt, her uncle. She's becoming so broken. That's why we were facing that in Terrifier 3 with Sienna, seeing what she's going through, being in a psychiatric hospital and just going through all these problems and her wanting to be human and regular again. But the demons, they're going towards that energy because they know that they need her as a vessel because she's the savior. She's meant to take them out. They obviously know the story because they dealt with her father before, and that demon kind of shows itself a lot through Victoria at the end when he's talking to Sienna and he's telling her all this, how weak she is, and he's laughing at her. It's crazy. You can just hear it. You can just hear the plan that the demon has, wanting to just take out Sienna, and the things that it's just saying, it kind of tells you everything. So for the next movie, I think it's set up very well after the events we just seen with Terrifier 3, being that we seen at the end of the movie that it's a lady on a bus, riding the bus, and Art the Clown comes on a bus and she's reading a book called The Ninth Circle, which is a callback from Damien's previous films with Art the Clown and everything. And that's when I started finding out about Art, you know, All Hallows Eve and everything. So with The Ninth Circle, a ninth circle is one of the craziest circles in hell. It's for the worst people, if you didn't know what the ninth circle is. And I think with Terrifier 4 for sure, and we see a glimpse of it in the ninth circle, you know, in All Hallows Eve, the demons. We see them. We see them. We see hell. We see actual hell. So I think that Damien's going deep with the next film. And me saying that is because when we saw this portal open in the living room and Gabby falls down there, we don't know if Jonathan's dead or not. Sienna's obviously going to go back there and save Gabby. She's going to save her for sure. I think that's me speculating, and she's going to have to go back to hell. I know it sounds crazy, but I think they're going to go that way. I think Terrifier 4, we're going to hell. Like, we're literally going to hell with the demons. And I think the final battle is going to be in hell. I think Jonathan, if he's dead, he's going to help Sienna from the other side or something like that. Or maybe Jonathan comes as a surprise. He comes later in the film and he kind of helps Sienna through the stuff that's about to go on in Terrifier 4, because he wrote this letter. He obviously has knowledge on it and demonology and possession and stuff. So I think I can see him returning and helping Sienna for sure, not letting his sister go through this by herself. I just really do think he's not dead, but we're going to hell, and that's why we saw that book on the ninth circle. Maybe Sienna's going to go out looking for help for people that actually dealt with things like that. You know, like that woman on the bus, she's reading a book that says the ninth circle. So yeah, they're going to hell. That's going to end in hell, and that's where Art's going to probably lay his head. He's going to be at rest in hell at the end of Terrifier 4. They're going to have a final battle, but could you imagine the fucking creatures and all the shit that we're going to see Damien do? We're going back to All Hallows Eve, man. Ninth Circle. If you haven't seen that, go back and watch that. You will understand the creatures he did. We're going to see some shit if he goes to hell with Sienna and Art. And I think that that's why when you see Art on a bus, I can be wrong. When there's no power fueling him, that's why he looks so weak. He's just like walking and he sits on a bus. I'm not saying that he's still not supernatural in that scene, but he just seemed a little more human-y. You know what I'm saying? Maybe I'm tripping, but I think the more he's around like Pale Girl, Victoria, those demon entities, it makes him stronger. That's what they were trying to tell us, and that's why he was just on a bus and he honks. But I could be wrong. That's one thing I can say. I could be wrong. But pushing forward, yes, we're going to hell with Terrifier 4. I could see that happening after the ending of Terrifier 3 with the portal opening. We're hearing Gabby scream. I think, to be honest, with Sienna and Terrifier 3, it shows us what she's going to be like in Terrifier 4. She's lost everything as of now. She's going to be like a Laurie Strode a little bit. Like, I think she's going to be on the hunt because she knows that Art the Clown is out there. She's seen, you know, he left out the window, so he's out there somewhere still. So now she has the mindset, now I haven't won. How you heard her say it in Terrifier 3 when Gabby asked her, you know, what was wrong with her face. She said, I had a fight. She said, did you win? She said, yes. Now she's not thinking that. She's thinking, hey, he's out there. I have to go take care of this. I got to get to the bottom of this. And I think she's going to be asking questions. And if Art doesn't take out the woman on the bus with the 9th circle, I would say something like where she's going to cross paths with that woman that's reading the 9th circle because she has knowledge on it. Maybe that was something that Damien was showing us, like this woman on the bus has knowledge on the 9th circle and hell and demonology, and her and Sienna are going to cross paths, and she's going to tell Sienna, hey, I saw that guy on the bus. But I don't know. Maybe Art takes her out on the bus. We find a book again some way. You know, Damien's an amazing writer, but it's something about him showing that 9th circle callback. I immediately thought that in there's like, oh, we're going back to the old days then. And I think that that's actually creepy, bro. Y'all got to watch All Hallows Eve to understand what I'm talking about. And all it's full circle as hell. That's why I tell people, like, man, Damien is amazing at writing. Like, that's so full circle. His very, very first project, bro. He's bringing his new project all the way back to his first full circle, it being in hell, ending in hell, and Sienna's going to go there with him. And I think that's what's going to happen. That's how you're going to have to defeat Art, is leave him down in that portal of hell. Sienna's going to be suffering a lot of trauma, but I still think she's going to have that Laurie Strode Halloween 2018 energy. Like, let's go. I'm not fucking around. We're going after him, and it's going to go from there. I really do think that, especially with her possibly being alone, I think in Terrifier 4, we're going to see a new Sienna. We're going to see Final Girl status Sienna. We're going to see, I'm ready to, you know, be killed on that hill for this. I'm ready to get this over with. Her energy is going to be completely different. You know, she went through her being sad and everything. Now she's ready to rock and roll. That's how I feel. And man, that shower scene, I just got to talk about that real quick. The shower scene. Look, I see a lot of people saying they still don't think that it topped the bedroom kill. Me personally, I see why. I really do see why. But it's something about him really just shoving that fucking chainsaw up the man's cheeks. It really just, I felt it. And then you see his balls and wiener, and it's just, he's going in there. He's cutting him like a fucking turkey, bro. Like, I just felt everything, bro. And I think that's why I'm probably go with the chainsaws, because I felt it. I felt the bedroom too, but it's something about in the crack of the ass. In the crack of the ass. Bruh. It was just insane. Like I said, I think that was crazy where Mia was so obsessed with Art the Clown, saying she wanted to look evil in his eyes and shit. And then after he takes out her in the shower, he's like, that was actually creepy to me, just knowing the thought of her being that obsessed, and Art was listening to her outside the room and just knowing what the fuck was going on. And she's talking about Jonathan and stuff, and she was like, and you know, Cole was like, yeah, you want to bang him, you know, you must want to bang him. She's like, no, I don't. He's like, Art, that whole scene was just comedy, bro. And him just listening, and she's like, yeah, I want to know what it smells like. He's like, it's just crazy, bro. Like, I think that all that was just so fun with Art, bro. Just the stuff he's done, like, in this Terrifier 3 movie. Him taking the leg from Cole and smelling the foot and just like, it's just so comedy, bro. And I love the way that Damien has wrote David out. So crazy. I love the shower scene kill. It was very brutal, and just, it made me feel kind of like unsettled at a point. I'm not gonna lie, man. Yeah, it really did. Yeah, Sienna also has a supernatural ability attached to her, being from the angels, and her dad told her that in the flashback with, you know, her character and everything with this sword, and she was like, can it defeat Blaster Man? And he told her it can defeat 10 Blaster Man. When Sienna goes back and get that sword from the Terrifier, because she knows how powerful the sword is, and we see at the end, you know, she gets the sword to the point it gives her so much, you know, healing ability. She gets to slice up Art the Clown. She's slicing right through him in the final act when they're going back and forth. Sword against chainsaw. It was just insane. And I think she's starting to understand, you know, what she's put here for and everything. And like I said, the sword gives her a healing ability. We see once she's holding Gabby over the portal of hell with the sword, it slices her hands, and she looks at her hands and it heals right away. And you know, in Terrifier 2, Sienna actually, she died, but the sword, you know, that the powers with the angels and everything with her character, the warrior, it brought her back. And that sword is very powerful, and she knows it's a thing where she's going to have to use it to take out Art the Clown. When she shoved that into Art the Clown, she saw the power that it has and everything. And like I said, just like overall, I think Sienna's energy is going to be so different. She's going to definitely be seeking out help to figure out things with the demons, possibly, and demonology, because she's already taken interest in it from when Jonathan wrote that letter to her, and she's starting to believe what he said. She told Jonathan, actually, you're not crazy. You're not crazy. What you're saying is true. So that shows you that she definitely believes in what he said is true, and I think that she's going to take that with her in Terrifier 4, and it's going to help her get through everything in Terrifier 4. Also, remember the scene, we see that Art the Clown and Victoria goes back to this abandoned, you know, home or whatever. And as soon as he goes into his work area in place, that the lights cut on, showing that the demonic energy is connected to them some way with him and Victoria. And even when they go into like hibernation or whatever, and like sleep for 5 years, we see that, you know, the energy kicks back up with the lights when the demolition team come in there and they just see the light and they're kind of confused. It's showing that Victoria was woke. We see the light shine through the clear curtain, and it shows that, okay, she's back up and running. And then Art the Clown ends up being back up and running, because it shows you how strong that demon energy is, to the point it's making the lights cut on and things like that. And that's, to me, is just insane when you think about it. And like I said, I love what, you know, Damien is doing with the Terrifier story. I really do enjoy the lane and direction he's taken. It's very creative, and it has just like a lot of depth to it. And I think that is so crazy to see him going back possibly to the 9th circle where it all started on All Hallows Eve. And yeah, I really do think where he's at right now, this is a perfect spot for Terrifier. This is the crazy story that's starting to, you know, unravel and unfold, and I really am excited, man. I cannot wait to see Terrifier 4. I am on this train for this story. I can't wait to see everything just kind of come to life, and I hope I'm right with that 9th circle theory and everything. And I really do think when it comes to Art the Clown, it's more deeper, it's more darker than what we're seeing right now, and I think we're going to see that in Terrifier 4. And like I told you all, I really do think we're going to hell. We're going to hell, Terrifier 4. I don't think he's going to go that holiday slasher route, or again, I think he's going to do something different, being that he's going to hell. And if we're going to hell, I think that's enough right there. We're going to hell, y'all. So yes, man, this is gonna be crazy. Possibly, like, I really do hope that this is freaking true when I'm speculating. But yeah, guys, unfortunately, this is the end of the video. I want y'all to comment down below what you guys think about everything we just talked about with Terrifier 3. Did you enjoy the movie? What do you think is going to happen in Terrifier 4? How did you feel about the ending? Do you think that, you know, the theories and breakdown we just had, do you think that is true and it can happen in Terrifier 4? Let me know down in the comments below. And also, this Monday at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we will be live talking about everything Terrifier 3, what can happen in Terrifier 4, talking all the spoilers. It's going to be a party. Definitely be there. Come and rock out, guys. But once again, unfortunately, this is the end of the video. I want y'all to hit me up on all my social medias at ILIKESCARY. I want you to watch some horror movies. Stay scary out there. Peace.